Welcome back to the channel for another top video. This time we are talking about my top 10 favourite rides in Orlando, and for the purposes of this video we're counting Busch Gardens as part of Orlando. So let's dive right in for my top 10 rides in the Orlando area. This will cover all of the rides that I've ridden that are my favourite. So I haven't ridden Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and Rise of the Resistance yet, and I have a feeling that certainly Rise of the Resistance might appear in my top 10 in a future video, but for now I haven't ridden those, so that's why they're not included. Let's get right in with my top 10 rides in Orlando. At number 10 is The Mummy over at Universal Studios Orlando. I really love this roller coaster. In fact, throughout this list you might find a few roller coasters because they are some of my favourite rides, but The Mummy in particular is just a really fun ride. It's got a really great story, it's a good length in terms of a roller coaster, and it's just so much fun. So that's The Mummy at number 10, my top 10 rides in Orlando. Number 9 is Expedition Everest over at Disney's Animal Kingdom in Walt Disney World. So again, another roller coaster. This one also has a pretty good story. The queue line's pretty good on this one. There's lots to see in that queue line, and then when you're on the ride and you're going up that hill and then the track's broken and then you shoot backwards and just the G-forces, and it's just fantastic roller coaster and just such a fun ride, and I can ride it over and over again. So that is number 9, Expedition Everest over at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Number 8 in my top 10 rides in Orlando is Infinity Falls, which is at SeaWorld Orlando. So this is a fairly new, it's only been open a couple of years, a fairly new river rapids ride, and it is just so much fun. You get quite wet on it if you get stuck underneath the drop where the water's just dripping down the sides. You can get really wet there, which is what happened to me and Caroline. But is Infinity Falls your favourite ride as well, Holly? He's never been on it, but he probably would be, although he doesn't like getting wet. But anyway, Infinity Falls, it's just good fun, a really good river rapids ride. It is one of the better ones in the Orlando area. There are a few. You've got Cali River Rapids at Animal Kingdom, which is just okay. You've got the River Rapids at Busch Gardens, which again is just okay. So that is number 8 on my top 10 rides in Orlando, Infinity Falls. At number 7 is Flight of Passage at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Now this used to be my favourite ride in Orlando, and I'll explain why it's not shortly, but a lot of you are probably a little bit surprised that this is lower down in the list, because it is a lot of people's favourite ride. So I've ridden this several times, never in the standby line, so I've never seen that queue. It's only ever been Fast Pass. I probably should do the standby line at some point, but I don't want to queue for a couple of hours. I've got better things to do with my time, so you've got to use Fast Passes really well for this ride. But it's so much fun, like the smells that you get when you're riding on it, and just the scenery is brilliant. Now the reason why it's dropped down to number 7 from previously being my favourite ride in Orlando is because it's starting to get a bit old, and you can tell. They have some of the seats are out of service. The screen, the last couple of times I've ridden it, seems to be getting blurrier. It certainly matters now where you sit. Previously it didn't matter where you sat, whether you were at the end of the screen, top, bottom, middle, it was all the same. Now if you're on the edges it's a bit blurry. So that's why it's dropped down to number 7, but still a fantastic ride. Love Flight of Passage. Number 6 is Toy Story Midway Mania over at Disney's Hollywood Studios and Walt Disney World, and I love this ride because it's a ride that I can do with Caroline. It's fun. We're always laughing and giggling, and it's a good competition. Although Caroline only beats me, but it's just so much fun. Shooting all of the targets, and yeah, just a great ride. And normally with Caroline's Fast Pass, we get to ride it twice, so who can't complain at that? So that's Toy Story Midway Mania at number 6 on my top 10 rides in Orlando. Number 5 is Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey over at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in Islands of Adventure at Universal Studios. That was a mouthful. I really like this one as well. I really like the mixture of screens, animatronics, kind of roller coaster movement of the vehicle. It is just fun. The story is fantastic. Even after all of these years, because it's been around for a while now, the screens are still really good. It doesn't need 3D, which I love, and it's just fun, all-round fun ride over at Universal Studios there. That is my number 5. Number 4 is Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Probably other words. When this is working, it is fantastic. It's a really just fun roller coaster. You get to ride in the bike or the sidecar. You whiz around the track quite low down. There are 2 drops, an up and 4 backwards, and then an actual drop like that. It's only a short one, small one, not very high, but just so much fun. The sounds, the effects, the animatronics, the roller coaster. Such a fun ride. Go and ride that if you can. So that's Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure at number 4. Number 3 is Tower of Terror at Disney's Hollywood Studios. I love this ride. I could ride it, I couldn't ride it over and over, but I could ride it a few times in a row. I just love the drops. I think I've had all of the different drop sequences that you can get on this ride now, and I really love the ones where you go the full length of the shaft. So when you rise up the shaft and drop down the shaft, it's just, when you're going like that, and then rather than the little bunny hops in the middle, the full shaft experience is what makes this ride so much fun, and your stomach going into your throat and other people screaming. It's just brilliant. And I'm really looking forward to riding other versions of this at other theme parks as well. So that is Tower of Terror at Disney's Hollywood Studios at number 3. At number 2 is Sheikrah over at Busch Gardens. Again, another fantastic roller coaster. You've got 2 hanging over the edge vertical drops. They are just so much fun. The thrill that I get when I ride this, and it's a one that I can just ride. It is amazing. I really love Sheikrah over at Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay. So let's just do a quick recap of my 10 to 2 before we dive into number 1. Although you've probably guessed number 1 already. So at number 10 was The Mummy at Universal Studios. At number 9 is Expedition Everest at Disney's Animal Kingdom. At number 8 is Infinity Falls SeaWorld. At number 7 is Flight of Passage at Disney's Animal Kingdom. At number 6 is Toy Story Midway Mania at Disney's Hollywood Studios. At number 5 was Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey over at Islands of Adventure. At number 4 is Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure at Islands of Adventure. Number 3 is Tower of Terror, Disney's Hollywood Studios. And number 2 was Sheikrah at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Which brings us on to number 1. So my number 1 all-time favourite ride in all of Orlando is Mako at SeaWorld. This is a roller coaster that is fun from beginning to end, from standing in that queue to getting off. It is just fun, thoroughly enjoyable. I really love rising up the lift hill and just the speed that you drop down that first drop, where you leave your seat for what feels like 5-6 seconds. You spend more time out of that seat than in it. It is just brilliant. So that is my number 1 ride in the top 10 rides in the Orlando area, Mako at SeaWorld. So that is my top 10. Let me know down below what your favourite rides in Orlando are. You will probably have some that are different to me. These are just what I enjoy and my opinion. So thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please like it. And if you're not already subscribed and you want to see more, subscribe. Thank you very much. Keep making memories. I'll catch you later for another top video.